there are secrets hidden in the pages of the Bible that few dare to uncover. Have you ever felt that what we know about human history may be just the tip of a vast iceberg? That in the shadows of ancient texts, in the unspoken lines, there is something that challenges what we have been taught to believe? Today, we will embark together on a journey, a profound exploration that may forever change the way you see the world around you. We will delve into the secrets kept for millennia, the Dead Sea Scrolls. These texts, discovered by chance in the caves of ancient Judea, contain something that the church and scholars hesitate to discuss openly. Have you ever wondered why? What do they not want you to know? What was left out, forgotten, or intentionally hidden, and why are these stories not in the pages of the modern Bible? Prepare yourself for truths that challenge traditional narratives and lead us to question the very foundations of religious knowledge. What if I told you that the Dead Sea Scrolls could shed new light on the story of Lucifer's fall? That perhaps much of what we think we know about the rebellious angel is just part of a larger plot, a plot hidden within these ancient texts. Today, you'll discover what even the greatest scholars avoid discussing. We'll delve into hidden mysteries and forgotten stories that not only challenge the status quo, but also reveal a deep and disturbing connection between the past and our present day. Brace yourself. What comes next may shake the foundations of your faith and what you think you know. Let's go back to the roots, to the words that started it all. The Bible tells of the fall of Lucifer, the angel who dared to defy the Almighty. You probably know the story, but do you really? In Isaiah 14 verse 12, we read, "How you have fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning! How you have been cut down to the ground, you who weaken the nations." And in Ezekiel 28, we find another enigmatic reference. "You were the seal of perfection, full of wisdom and perfect in beauty. You were in Eden, the garden of God, until iniquity was found in you." These verses are often used to describe Lucifer's rebellion and expulsion from heaven. But there is more to these words. Something that the Dead Sea Scrolls hint at with an almost dark brilliance. Few people know this, but these ancient texts lead us to believe that Lucifer's fall was not simply due to pride or a desire for power. No, there was a greater purpose behind his rebellion. A truth hidden between the lines of the traditional narrative. The scrolls reveal that Lucifer was actually seeking something much more complex. He wanted not only to defy God, but to change the very destiny of creation. And here is the first great revelation. The scrolls suggest that Lucifer's fall was strategically orchestrated, with implications that go beyond what religion would have us believe. It is believed that he did not act alone. Others followed him, not out of loyalty, but out of something deeper, something that has been hidden by history. Lucifer wanted more than power, he wanted absolute control over humanity. A humanity that, according to these texts, has always been a real target. Now imagine for a moment that this fall, this rebellion, was not an impulsive act, but a calculated move, a tactic with consequences that reverberate to this day. The Dead Sea Scrolls suggest that before the rebellion, Lucifer knew the secrets of creation in a profound way. He knew that humanity was destined for something more, something that was not in the immediate plans. He saw the divine potential in human beings, a potential that perhaps even the angels could not achieve. And then the astonishing truth emerges: Lucifer did not fall simply out of pride. His true motivation was to gain greater power, to control the destiny of humanity. The ancient texts reveal that he desired to shape the hearts of men, to dominate their choices, and thus to turn the tide between the forces of light and darkness. And this fall may have been just the beginning of a greater plan, one that continues to unfold to this day, invisible to our eyes but present in every decision, in every impulse we feel. And here is the disturbing fact. The forces that Lucifer mobilized, the fallen angels who followed him, did not disappear with his fall. They were relegated to the shadows, and it is in those shadows that they remain, waiting, manipulating, influencing the course of human history. Connect this with the present. Think of the great spiritual crises, the wars that seem inexplicably cruel, the decisions that many make without understanding why they chose that path. These texts suggest that the influence of Lucifer and his followers never really ceased. The forces he unleashed are still at work, shaping our world in ways we cannot even comprehend. the battle did not end with his expulsion from heaven. It has moved to our plane, and we are at the center of it, often without realizing it. Now, what I am about to reveal may challenge everything you have believed until now. Most of us have been taught that Lucifer's fall represented his final defeat, that he was stripped of his power and relegated to oblivion. But that, my friends, could not be further from the truth. Lucifer's true power was not destroyed with his fall. He did not lose his influence, nor his dominance. In fact, these ancient texts would have us believe that his expulsion was merely the beginning of a new era of power, one that he now exercises directly over the earth. The Dead Sea Scrolls suggest that his fall was, in fact, a strategic reorganization of power, not a defeat. Lucifer and his followers have fallen, yes, but in doing so, they have gained access to the physical world, the human plane, where the real battle is taking place. And here is the crux. When he fell, he began to operate in the shadows, far from the watchful eyes of the heavenly hosts, influencing the course of humanity in subtle but devastating ways. What if I told you that many of our modern beliefs, the systems that govern our society, and even the conflicts that seem endless, bear the fingerprints of these dark forces? The narrative we have been told, that Lucifer is a defeated enemy, is only half the story. These texts reveal another side, a truth that shakes the foundations of our spiritual understanding. Lucifer and his followers have not been destroyed. They are closer than ever, manipulating the hearts of men, twisting the truth, steering the destiny of humanity to their own ends. Brace yourself, because this new perspective challenges everything you have ever heard. The real battlefield is not heaven, not hell, but earth, right here, right now. The war continues, and control of the human soul is the most coveted prize. Now, let me take you into even more uncharted territory, where only those who have delved into the darkest layers of Scripture dare to tread. There are passages in the Bible that are mentioned briefly, without much emphasis, but that contain clues to this unsettling truth. Job 1 verse 6 gives us a mysterious picture. The angels came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came with them. Satan, now fallen, still had access to heaven, but why? The answer may lie in the Dead Sea Scrolls. They suggest that the fall of Lucifer and his followers was, in fact, a role reversal. And that, ever since, these fallen angels have maintained a connection with the physical world, influencing it in ways that only the most observant can perceive. But there is another verse that rarely receives attention, and it is here that we find our next revelation. In Genesis 6 verse 4, we read of the sons of God who came down to earth and fathered children with the daughters of men. The giants, the Nephilim, are born of this forbidden union. But what is not widely discussed is the connection between these Nephilim and the fallen angels. The Dead Sea Scrolls offer a new perspective, a direct link between the Nephilim and modern events. They insinuate that these beings, the fruit of the union between fallen angels and humans, never completely disappeared. And here is the second revelation. The Nephilim, or at least their influence, is still present among us. We are not only dealing with invisible spiritual forces, but also with descendants of these hybrid creatures who walk among us, shaping history in ways we cannot even imagine. Could it be possible that the most brutal wars, the most sudden social collapses, are linked to this ancient lineage, whose thirst for power has been perpetuated for centuries? These forces, mixed with human blood, are, according to the texts, in positions of great influence. Governments, large corporations, even spiritual leaders. The connection between the fallen angels and the powers of the earth is stronger than we could ever imagine. We are only scratching the surface of something much greater, something that moves in the shadows and shapes our destiny in subtle but relentless ways. Now that you understand that these fallen forces have not disappeared and that their influence is among us, let us look at history and the shadows that lurk within it. Since ancient times, entire civilizations have risen and fallen under the influence of something greater, something that transcends human ambition. Think of the great wars that have devastated nations, the catastrophes that have turned the world into a battlefield. Were these tragedies merely human events? Or were they connected to a much deeper spiritual game orchestrated by forces that we do not even perceive? These texts suggest that the spiritual influences of Lucifer and his followers are deeply connected to the most devastating events in humanity. Great wars, revolutions, the rise of corrupt empires, none of these were by chance. Human history is replete with moments when these forces acted discreetly, influencing decisions, leading nations into chaos. But it is not only in the arena of nations that evil acts. It is personified, manifesting itself in everyday life in ways that are often invisible to us. Here is the most frightening truth. Evil is not an abstract force. It has a name, an identity, and a purpose. The texts speak of Lucifer not as an idea, but as an active entity that, since his fall, has sought to corrupt and mislead humanity. And his followers, those who fell with him, are among us, taking on forms, manipulating situations, influencing people. Have you ever wondered why certain personal tragedies seem inexplicable? Why some people make decisions that destroy everything around them? Or why, in moments of weakness, we seem to be led down paths we would never consciously choose? The answer may lie in the invisible presence of these forces. Imagine, we are not talking about mythological monsters or legendary figures, but real beings who inhabit this world, although they cannot be seen. They manipulate, distort, move in the shadows of our daily existence. And the truth that the Dead Sea Scrolls present to us is that evil can be much closer than we imagine. Not just a distant or metaphorical threat, but a tangible presence in our lives. These entities walk among us, and often their influences are subtle, a temptation, a wrong choice at the right time, a voice whispering doubt in the back of the mind. Lucifer's plan was never to destroy the body, but to corrupt the soul, undermine our humanity, and distort what is most sacred within us. Now, you must be wondering, how does this affect you? The stories we are unraveling are not just tales of fallen angels and spiritual wars that belong to the past. The truth, revealed in these ancient manuscripts, is that you are part of this battle, and it's happening every moment, every day. And here's the third revelation. The Dead Sea Scrolls suggest that Lucifer's true plan for modern times isn't just to manipulate global events or influence powerful leaders. His plan is much more personal. He wants to shape you, your decisions, your thoughts, and even your desires. He doesn't want your physical destruction. No, what he seeks is more subtle. He wants to corrode your soul, distort your vision of good and evil, and slowly guide your actions away from the light. Think about the times you felt on the brink of a difficult decision, when one choice seemed more tempting, but you knew something was wrong. That little voice of doubt that creeps into your mind, it might not be yours after all. The texts speak of how these invisible forces infiltrate our everyday lives, through the choices we make. They don't act in obvious ways, like in horror movies or stories. Instead, they plant tiny seeds of doubt, fear, greed, envy, and let those seeds grow on their own. Have you ever stopped to think why certain moments of weakness seem so inevitable? As if, no matter how hard you fight, you are being led down a path you would not consciously choose. The scrolls suggest that this subtle, almost imperceptible influence is Lucifer's true weapon. He doesn't need to force anything. He simply whispers, plants doubt, and waits for us to do the rest. Now, look around you. Think about the choices you've made, the times you felt like you were in control, but something seemed to slip through your fingers. Perhaps you are more involved in this battle than you ever imagined. Lucifer's influence is not reserved only for the powerful. No. His true triumph is in being able to shape the mind and heart of each individual, slowly leading us astray. Now, let me tell you a few stories of people who, like you, never imagined that they were engaged in an invisible battle. Imagine a woman who had always been strong in her faith, devoted to her family and her community. But suddenly, she began to be haunted by an inexplicable doubt. It was subtle at first, just small thoughts that made her question her beliefs, her decisions. Over time, these thoughts grew, and she began to pull away from everything that was important to her. What she didn't know is that these seeds of doubt didn't just appear out of nowhere. They were the whispers of something bigger, something that was trying to eat away at what was most sacred within her. And so, we have the story of a man, someone who, on the outside, seemed to have everything under control. But inside his mind, a silent battle was going on. He struggled with impulses, with an inexplicable anger that would surface at the most inopportune moments. Try as he might to resist, he felt as if he were being driven by a force he couldn't identify. Only later, as he delved deeper into scripture and reflected on the unseen influences around him, did he begin to understand. What he was facing was not simply his own inner demons, but the subtle influence of spiritual forces at work behind the scenes. These stories are not unique. Each one echoes what many people, perhaps even you, face every day. Little moments when we feel lost, moments when we make decisions we know deep down we shouldn't make. Evil doesn't present itself in grandiose forms. No. It works in small gestures, in doubts, in daily temptations, in moments when we feel vulnerable. Now, I want you to stop and reflect. Think about your own life. How many times have you found yourself on the brink of a decision that, although it seemed harmless, had consequences you could never have foreseen? How many times have you found yourself fighting an inner voice that tried to guide you in a direction you knew was wrong? This is the oldest strategy of Lucifer and his followers, not to attack directly, but to plant doubt, temptation, weakness, and let humanity itself do the work. And so, I ask you, have these forces also shaped your decisions? Have you, without realizing it, been touched by this invisible war? It is time to take a closer look and understand that each of us is part of this battle, even if we cannot see the front lines. Now we come to the most crucial point of this journey. Everything you have heard so far is just the beginning. What comes next may change the way you see the world around you, and even yourself. Do you feel that? A sense that something greater is happening, even if we can't see it? As if a silent battle is being fought over every choice, every thought, every action. The truth that the Dead Sea Scrolls reveal is that this battle is not distant, nor confined to the past. It is happening now, all around you, in your life, every day. You have been led to believe that evil is far away, that the true battle between light and darkness is beyond our reach. But the great revelation is this. The real battle is not taking place in the distant future, nor in the unseen spiritual planes. It is happening here, now, on Earth. In the battlefield? Your mind, your heart, your daily decisions. The scrolls reveal that Lucifer and his followers do not just influence great leaders or world events. They are involved in something much closer to home. They want to control the destiny of each individual, corrupting the human soul, slowly, day by day. They do not need great wars or catastrophes to win. All they need to do is plant a few small wrong choices, a subtle deviation from the truth, and let humanity do the rest. And here is the climax. The spiritual war is already happening, in you, in me, in all of us. We are all involved in this invisible game, where at every moment we are tempted to give in to forces we cannot see. That is why we often feel confused, lost, or as if something greater is influencing our choices. And this feeling? It is not just a suspicion. It is real. Now, you have to ask yourself, what now? Knowing that the battle is all around you, inside you, what are you going to do? Because the great truth is this, the decision is yours. Even if Lucifer has power and influence, he cannot take your soul unless you give it to him. Every choice you make, every action, is a small step in this invisible war. The question you need to answer is, whose side are you on? Now that we have reached the end of this journey, you must be asking yourself, and what can I do? The Dead Sea Scrolls show us that spiritual warfare is real, that Lucifer and his followers still work in the shadows, trying to corrupt souls. But remember, true victory lies in choice. You still have the power to decide. And here's the good news, victory has already been promised. The Bible reminds us, repeatedly, that the forces of darkness, no matter how powerful they seem, will not prevail. In Ephesians 6 verse 12, we are instructed, "For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places." This means that although the battle is taking place on a spiritual level, you are not alone. Scripture gives us the tools we need to win this invisible war: faith, prayer, discernment. In Ephesians 6 verse 11, we are told to put on the full armor of God so that we can stand against the wiles of the enemy. Now ask yourself, how can you protect yourself from these unseen forces? Here are some practical steps. Strengthen your faith. Stay connected to what is sacred by reading and meditating on Scripture. The stronger your spiritual connection, the harder it will be for these forces to influence your decisions. Pray. Prayer is your greatest weapon. It is the way to connect directly with the divine and strengthen your spiritual defense. Cultivate discernment. Not all influences are obvious. Learn to identify the whispers of doubt, fear, and temptation, and reject them before they gain strength. And above all, remember, there is hope. You are not just a victim in the midst of this battle. You are a soldier, an essential part of this struggle between good and evil. Every choice you make, every decision for what is right and true, is a victory. The end has not yet been written, but your story, your choices, shape the course of this battle. You have the power to resist, to fight, to protect your soul and the souls around you. The battle is happening here, now. But you are not alone. And you can win. If this journey has opened your eyes to truths you never imagined, don't stop here. We are only beginning to unravel the mysteries. If you want to continue exploring these hidden secrets and strengthen yourself for the invisible battle that is around you, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up, leave your like to help us reach more people, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss any new chapters of this series. Join us. This journey is yours, and the answers are closer than you think.